Hello, hello. How is everybody? Hope you guys are good. Hope you're all having a good day. So, I want to discuss some more about this case. I mean, this is one of those cases where I really question everybody involved. Except for Rudy. Like, I'm not saying anything against him right now. I'm just saying that I question everybody else. I question the aunt and her motives. The one thing I did want to say about the aunt that has been doing all the talking is she said that she was a home health aide. Like, she worked for a company who went and did and like took care of people, right, at their homes and stuff. And she said during that not press conference, but she said during that whatever interview with Grizzy and Quanell that her mother was in her care. But her mom, it's weird that her mom didn't live with her, right? She lived with Rudy's mom, which is just weird to me that she took care of people, but her mom didn't live with her. So I kind of wonder if there's some family thing going on there where she's like just got a grudge. I think there's a lot of family issues going on here that have not been brought to light, have not been brought out into the public. But as of right now, Rudy's mom, Janie, has not been charged with anything. There's a whole list of things that she could have been charged with or should have been charged with. But at this point, nothing has been done. Let me just say hi to everybody. Hey, DS. Hey, Larissa. Hey, Mama Moon. Well, the aunt did. She actually said that she went and did welfare checks there. And the mom would tell her, like, Rudy's here. Rudy lives here. And the aunt goes, well, I would walk around the house looking, but he was always gone because his mom had, told him to go out the back door to the woods. But she said, like, the mom was always dirty. And I don't know. I think it's weird. And there's too many weird things with what's being said. Definite family grudge. And this is more than just about Rudy. And I don't buy all them charges. That's activist speaking. We still don't know the real reason why Rudy has legal protection if it's true. Yeah. And I'm actually going to get into that because I posted a short yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, but I posted a short yesterday that said Rudy was actually, right before he went missing, he was a crucial witness in a case. It didn't say what case, but then he went missing. So I kind of wonder, like, what was the case that he was a crucial witness in? And did that have something to do with him? You know what I mean? Did that have something to do with this whole story? Yeah, there's just a lot of twisted stuff. So there's people in this story that obviously everybody can't be telling the truth. So somebody's full of it. Okay, but let's get into it. Let me pull up the first thing. And thank you guys for being here. Give me just 1 second. All right, let's pull this up. Okay, a woman who said she was close to Houston man Rudy Farias has said she was long suspicious of Rudy Farias' mom, Janie Santana. Speculation over Farias' disappearance remains. Now, if you are new to this case, Rudy's dad used to work, he was a Houston police officer with HPD. He actually, there was an investigation done against him for corruption. And he ended up taking his own life one day. Okay. And his mom is obviously some kind of grifter, obviously some kind of con artist, because the woman has got a million fake accounts. She's, trying to randomly just get random money from random people. She actually catfished on one of her accounts. She actually pretended to be a freaking country singer. So I think there's a lot of dark family secrets in this family. But let me read this. A woman who considered herself a surrogate parent to Rudy Farias has revealed her suspicions that after it was revealed the missing man was living with his mother the whole time. Jackie Brunswick said she became close with Rudy after his brother died in a motorcycle accident. Oh, and not to mention, his uncle, Rudy's uncle, so his brother died in a motorcycle accident in 2011. His uncle came out and said that he had proof that Rudy was like not missing. And right after he came out and said he had proof that Rudy was not missing, he died in a motorcycle accident. So how bizarre is that? Okay, Rudy was really having trouble dealing with it and was wanting help, she said to News Nation. And it wasn't just me. There was some other people that we started that taking him under our wings. Rudy from Houston, Texas was missing for 8 years before his mother claimed he had remarkably been found covered in blood, cuts, and bruises at the end of last month. Now, it is said that he took his mom's car and crashed it, and that's when he was found. In the days since the story of Farias being found emerged, community activist Quanell X alleged Rudy was held at home and abused by his mother. And another thing that really bothers me is these hospital pictures are from 2012. So please explain to me why they are being shared as if they are when he was found. It doesn't make any sense, you guys. Let me go over here real quick and see what some of you guys are saying. Hey, Crosshatch. Corruption thing, all I find is it's over a ticket citation scam. Nothing major, but you wouldn't take your own life over that. It would have been something deeper. So what did Rudy hear or see about his dad? So you're thinking that he was witness in the case against his father. Is that what you're thinking? That explains why Rudy has a life insurance policy, because he's got some type of legal protection plan. Because for some reason, a lot of people are dying around him. I expect and understand some of the decoys out here, but others are deliver. It just depending on basically who's trying to push what, and he's trying to interfere with blackmail. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So let me go back to here. Police in Houston said this was not the case and that Rudy's mother would not be charged, but did confirm he actually returned home on March 8th, 2015. This was just one day after he was reported missing. Lieutenant Christopher Zamora said during a news conference that Rudy's mom, Janie Santana, continued to deceive police by remaining adamant that Rudy was still missing. After police announced that Farias had been found, Santana released a statement saying he is receiving the care he needs to overcome his trauma. But at this time, he is nonverbal and not able to communicate. Okay, blah, blah, blah. We know all this. When he first went missing, it was reported that he suffered from depression and anxiety, and he might have been disoriented because he wasn't taking his meds. He also had asthma and walked with a slight limp because of an injured right leg. Jacques claims young Rudy, who was reported missing when he was 15, was afraid of his mother. He was a very timid young man, would not look at you when he spoke, especially if she was around. She told anchor Chris Cuomo. He would look at the ground and fidget with his hands. She continued, I honestly had always thought that Janie had something to do with it, had her hands in it some way or somehow. After a couple of years, I started grieving him because I truly thought that he was gone. Much of what happened in the 8 years after March 2015 remains a mystery. Okay. Now, let's look at some of these clips. I hate to say this, but something just does not seem right with me. Something does not seem right to me with the aunt. Oh, definitely. This whole story is heartbreaking, but it really makes you wonder, like, what in the hell is going on here? For real. Okay, let's see. Right here. Here's the Rudy Farias' mom, Janie Santana, is an internet catfish who once posed as country singer. The mother of longtime missing Houston man Rudy Farias is an internet catfish who posed as others online to appear more popular and better looking, and once stole the photos of a budding country musician. In the wake of allegations, she hid her now 25-year-old son at home for 8 years before he miraculously emerged last week. Janie Santana skipped town on Wednesday night, and her whereabouts are currently unknown. Yes, and that's what I wanted to say, because somebody, I'm not going to mention any names, but a popular YouTuber out there put out a video and stating that she had been arrested. That is false. She has not been arrested. She has not been charged with anything at this time. In the wake of allegations, I just read that. However, Santana leaves behind a large digital footprint, including a collection of fake Facebook profiles she had allegedly used to scam people. Those who had interacted with her online said Friday. Santana used others' photos online, including a picture of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed country singer, as recently as Wednesday, a far cry from her actual appearance. No, that's her. She created a family of catfish profiles to support her posts because nobody likes her stuff or comments back. So she's created a lot of fake profiles to circle her. She's using it for love, for personal gain, for money, whatever she needs it for. She's a very calculating person. Santana lied and hid her adult son to make it seem as though he was missing for 8 years for reasons which are still unclear. The Post understands when she left town, she placed Rudy in the care of friends where he remains. Police said Thursday that Rudy had actually returned home the day after he went missing. Yes. Okay, the Harris County District Attorney's Office has so far declined charges against Santana, pending further police investigation, despite her alleged false statements to law enforcement. Okay, now this is what I'm saying. This is where stuff gets, okay, let's look at the HPD for a second, okay? This is just my opinion. You can agree or disagree. But at the very least, she should have been charged with A, filing a false police report, and lying to detectives for the last 8 years, right? At the very least, arrest her for that, charge her with that, and then you have time to investigate these allegations, right? But to decline to charge her with anything makes you look suspicious. Makes it look like, does she have something on you? What are you trying to hide, right? The DA's office, the HPD. I mean, what is it with these police departments today? Not doing their damn jobs. Okay. She and Santana had allegedly spoke for hours in the day since. The first thing she tells me is, I see a lot of people talking shit about me on your page, Grizzy said. I thought it was odd that that's the first thing she said. Instead of my son is hurting, he's at the hospital. She was more worried about the media, how the media perceived her. She thought with me that I would tell everybody to lay off of her. Grizzy said, what's up, babe? Hold on one second, you guys.
I'm having oatmeal.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Grizzy said she met with Santana in person at the hospital where Farias was said to have been receiving medical treatment Wednesday. Before Santana's meeting with police, but Santana was allegedly preoccupied with how her in-person appearance varied from the way she purported to look online. Now, that's another thing. If he went to the hospital, right? If he went to the hospital after he was found, then why were police doing interviews with him in a hotel? Why weren't police talking to him at the hospital? Right? I mean, that's weird. I don't care what anybody says. Now, they did say that his mom told them at first that he was nonverbal. And police said, okay, well, let us know when he can talk. At least that's what the activist said. Now, honestly, it's up in the air. Who do you believe? That's basically what it is. Because if you believe the activist, then you can't believe the police department. If you believe the police department, then you can't believe the activist, because they're two totally different stories. There's just a lot of twisted things in this case, a lot of conflicting information. She said, I'm worried there are a bunch of cameras. I don't want them recording me. Grizzy recalled she was very worried about being on camera because she's posting pictures of herself that are not hers. Grizzy soon came to suspect that much of what Santana told her were lies. Grizzy, who boasts over 561,000 Facebook followers, is among the local activists and community members now calling for charges against the 55-year-old woman. Court records show it's not Santana's first bout with the criminal justice system, right? Because she was she was charged back in, 94 or 96 for a gun charge in a domestic violence thing. 94. With disorderly conduct with a firearm. Yep. Houston judge gave her a deferred adjudication of guilt in 1995, which would have released her of any charges after 9 months of supervision and good behavior. And the case was dismissed the next year. Meanwhile, Santana made over $2,000 in GoFundMe donations related to Farias's bogus disappearance. Again, there is another charge. Correct me if I am wrong. But making a GoFundMe for a missing child that's not actually missing and taking money from people, is that not illegal? Okay, now, now this is a photo, okay, that his aunt had on her phone. She said it was sent to her. That is supposed to be Rudy in 2018 in the house. So again, I will ask you this. If the aunt received this picture in 2018 of Rudy in the kitchen at his mother's house, then why in the hell was nothing done to abolish this scam back then? Right? I mean, it just doesn't add up here. Let me go over and see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Larissa said, Mom needs to be investigated ASAP. I agree. But if he was in witness protection, he wouldn't have been left in his mother's home, right? They'd have taken him somewhere else and put him in witness protection. Mom has not spoken publicly at all. We have not heard directly from the mother. We have not heard directly from Rudy. All we've heard from the community activist. We heard from Grizzy. and the police, but have not heard directly from anybody actually in this case. In this case, as of now, so far, I believe the police are protecting Rudy. Oh, shit. Are protecting Rudy for some reason in the past. Show his disappearance was a cover-up to start a protection plan. Oh, okay, I gotcha. I bet the police bought and had to pay for the hotel stay for protection and put them up until they can find another place to go. That's what I'm saying, Larissa. There's so much hearsay that honestly you don't know what to believe. Yeah, exactly. It is fraud. Police did not confirm the activist claims. Police said opposite of what the activist said. Police said that Rudy never mentioned being abused, and he never said anything about, the touching to them. Where Quanell came out with a totally different story. Location would have changed with witness protect. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Hey, Sugar. I'm glad you could make it.
We've learned from detectives that Rudy Farias' mother has not been truthful about her identity. Investigators say Farias and his mother, Janie Santana, gave fictitious names while interacting with various patrol officers. Court records filed in Harris County show Santana has gone by at least 5 different last names. Records also show that Santana has been married multiple times, and at least one of those marriages was voided because an ex claims she was married to at least 2 other people at the same time. KPRC2 legal analyst Brian Weiss says that is illegal, but likely won't play a factor in her son's case. He says the goal for the investigation is to find the truth, not to rush judgment, and detectives say no charges have been filed at this time, pending a full investigation. And Santana is also not charged at this time for filing fake reports or providing fake names.
So, not only did she file the fake police reports, but she was also married to 2 people at the same time, which again is illegal. Unless you live in Utah, right? I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. But anyway, why has she not been charged with any of these things? They keep saying, that's what the police keep saying. Pending investigation. Okay, so arrest her or charge her with the damn filing of the false police reports, charge her with fraud for defrauding people, right? And taking their money, and then investigate the other claims. But to do nothing makes them look suspicious to me. Now, again, that's just my opinion. And, she was supposed, okay, so Rudy was the beneficiary to his brother's life insurance policy. Now, the aunt said that she believed that he would have had to have been missing for over 3 years in order for it to be transferred into the next of kin, which would have been Rudy's mother. 3 years. And Rudy has never gotten a dime of that. So did his mother collect that money? That also needs to be found out. Well, mom must have connections to the police department as her husband worked there. Yeah, one of her Rudy's dad was a Houston police officer. And it seems to me like they're covering for this woman. It's crazy. Okay. Now this is the neighbor. Okay. This is the neighbor. Keisha Ross, I think was her name. Let me mute myself so I can play this video.
And joining us now is Keisha Ross. She's a neighbor of Rudy Farias. And Keisha, you say you never knew he was considered missing. So what was your understanding of the situation before these more recent details came to light?
Well, I had just moved back to Houston because I had been living in Fort Worth. I left in 2000 and I moved back here in 2022. And like 3 months after I moved here, I met the so-called Rudolph, because that's what I know him by. He told me his name was Rudolph, but he told me to call him Dolph for short. So that's what I knew him by. So he had been coming to my house since 3 months after I moved here, clean up until May 27th, when he actually so-called went missing from his home with his mother's BMW. He took it and he totaled it, and she told police that she didn't know who took her car, but she knew that he took her car because he was down here at my house earlier in the day with that car, and then he left. After he left, we hadn't talked to him. He turned his phone off, and we had been calling him to, because she had been calling us, asking us, have we heard from him? Have we talked to him? And we were saying no. So like Sunday, the day before the 4th of July, he come walking by my house earlier that morning around 6 or 6. It was like 7 o'clock. I want to say 7:30 or close to 8 o'clock. He had on some white basketball shorts, some flip-flops, no shirt, and he had some Band-Aids on him like he had went to the hospital or gave plasma or something, and a towel wrapped over him. And he walked to his house. And then later on that day, I learned that he was supposed to be missing. And when I looked at the thing, my daughter pulled it up and it said he had been missing since 2015. I wasn't here in 2015, so I knew nothing about that because I watch the news every now and then. I don't watch it like that. So I never knew anything about that. That day I discovered that he's supposed to be missing since 2015. I say, how was he missing since 2015? And I met him in 2022. It's a bunch of people that's been in my home that knows him, and they're not even living with me anymore, but they can tell you that they know a Mexican guy named Dolph. And if you show them a picture of him, they'll tell you that's who they know, because that's who we know. She's saying we talked to her nephew. The number that we had for her son, so-called son, is not his number. That was her nephew number. I told her all she have to do is bring her nephew to my presence and ask her nephew what's inside of my house. Dolph know because he's been inside of my house. And I told her they run around saying that this is her nephew that everybody has seen. Why isn't a lie detector test, or nobody has went into the home and took DNA evidence at the house? Because the boy had been living there since I've been at my home.
So what was your reaction when you heard Rudy was found slumped over outside of a church last week and then taken to the hospital? What went through your heart and your mind first?
He may have been slumped over due to being on some type of drug, because like I told people, every time I saw him, I never saw him with a sober mind. He was always saying that he needed some mushrooms or shrooms to get high, and he smoked marijuana, and he was always high. He was never sober. But when he would come, what was like getting to me was like you could tell there was something wrong with him because he was like always, he was like, if he came down here and she called his phone, he wouldn't answer. So that was
Can
one
I
red flag
slip in, Keisha, very quickly? We've got about 10 seconds left. What was your impression of his mother?
I thought she was a weird lady. I didn't talk to her. She would only talk to my son and my cousin because I wouldn't talk to her because I noticed some things about him that when his mom called, I thought she was some weirdo.
All
But
right.
when I met her,
Keisha
she
Ross.
gave me a different impression.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find.
Now, Quanell, the activist, had come out and said that his mom kept him, you know, locked in a room and was feeding him drugs and, you know, and honestly, though, this is so crazy. I know they did just cut her off, didn't they? But, yeah, there's just so much here that doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Somebody is lying. Just like the aunt said, she got to see him and hug him, but they don't show any picture. They don't show any pictures. You would think, as feisty as she is, they would have took a picture of that and put that out on the internet. You know, like I said, they don't have the pictures that they did release of him were back from 2012. Again, you know, that kind of reminds me of Kylie's case because it's like, why are you releasing these old ass photos? How about some new updated photos of him actually today? Like that's where my mind goes. Like, why? Why are you releasing photos from 2012 and pushing them as they were him just now when he was found? It doesn't make any sense. And I just can't, like, he went by a bunch of different names as well. Some people knew him as Gabriel. Some people knew him as Dolph. Some people, nobody knew him as Rudy, obviously. At least that's what they're telling us. But, even for that lady, when she was like, I thought she was a weird lady. Like, she would call him, and I just got some weird vibes from her. I mean, again, are you gonna just be like, well, or are you gonna try to talk to him about it, right? Are you gonna try to ask him some questions? Because that's what I would have been doing if I got bad vibes from the mom. I'd have been like, are you okay? Like, do you need any help? You can talk to me. You know what I mean? Check this out, which I'll get to. The family friend that he is staying with, right, is the same person that found him outside of the church. That's weird. That's almost too weird, right? Exactly. Another twisted case with more hearsay than factual evidence. Because it's like I seen a couple short clips they tried to show updated pictures in the house. But once again, it was from the back side of the head, so you can't see him to know who he is. Exactly. Okay. Too much. Yep. All right. Let's move on. Let's see. Here's her again. Okay. This just breaks my heart beyond belief if this is true. It reminds me of the MBP case where a girl offed her mom after years of collecting benefits, trips, a free home, etc., because she claimed her daughter was dying. All right, so let's hear what Keisha has to say here.
Yeah, y'all gonna see me on the news today. I was on the news yesterday. I was on Channel 13 yesterday. I'm gonna be on Fox 26, Channel 2, News 11. I've been out here talking to these news people because I'm the one who discovered that 25-year-old boy that they say had been missing for 8 years. He really wasn't missing. His mom was holding him captive in her house. This boy was coming into my garage every day when he would so-called get off of work with his mother because she made him go to work with her. That's how deep this shit is. She made him go to work with her to make him not talk to nobody because she.
Okay, now I'm going to pause that right there because, and that's another thing that Quanell said, that she would make him go to work with her so he couldn't talk to nobody. But he comes and hangs out in your garage. The kid that, the guy, he's not a kid, but the guy that we heard from in Grizzy's news thing the other day outside of the home, he must have been her son because he said that Rudy come over to his house and hung out in the garage all the time with them. So if she was taking him to work all the time so he couldn't talk to nobody, then what was he doing at her house, at this woman's house all the time? And the same guy who told us that is also the same person who said that his mom, that Rudy's mom, offered him and his cousin, I think, $200 to break into her home and remove stuff from her home while she was working. I mean, again, I'll say it again, and I don't care. There's so many things that don't add up here. But anyway, okay, let's get back to her.
Kept him captive for 8 years. He was supposed to went missing at 17, and he wasn't even really missing. She had him in the house, hiding him, and made him go by his nickname, which was Dolph. His real name is Rudy, but I'm talking about. She had this poor child. This baby head is so fucked up right now. Like, he's so fucked up. I've been talking to these news people day and night about what y'all see these news people out here. These all the news trucks right here. This is his house. Like, this woman had folks thinking this man had been missing for 8 years, and she was sexually molesting her own son. Like, how fucking sick you can be. Like, there's some crazy motherfuckers out here in the world. The reason why the baby's so messed up like he is, because she was feeding him drugs, hallucination drugs. This shit is crazy. Like, y'all see this? News people, she gotta fix her hat. Everyone called this young man to return home after 8 years in the jail. Well, then they started asking how that young man was missing when they claimed they could see him reflected for this entire time. After the Quanell X thing, when that young man shared what he's gone through these past 8 years, it was hard to see. There's fireworks for y'all. Yeah, everyone called this young man safe return home after 8 years in Europe. But then neighbors started asking how that young man was missing. If they say, they claim. First was good, huh? One more. This one was good. Yeah, everyone called that young man safe return after 8 years of being missing in Europe. But then neighbors started asking how he was missing in the first place. When they claimed they'd seen him pregnant for this entire time. When Quanell X shared what that young man told him when they spoke, he had to fight that experience. I did reach out to Texas Center for the Missing for a comment on this latest. I did reach out to Texas Center for the Missing for a statement. They said they have no comment at this time. So far, no one has been arrested. This mother is not facing any charges. Of course, we plan to stay on top of this as soon as we learn more. So, and I'm Gabby Hart, Fox 26. I didn't participate per se. I was just questioned by the news people of him coming to my house that day. He used to hang in my garage. He'd have been in my house. Like, this shit crazy. That's the house. That's the house he's supposed to be living in, Day Day. Yeah, it's really, 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 really crazy. Yeah, they are very. That lady, his mama, crazy. His mama was holding him captive, like holding him against his will. He wanted to leave so many times, but she wouldn't let him leave. She would manipulate him and tell him that the police was gonna take him to prison if he showed his face or told anybody his real name and who he was. So yeah, the bitch is sick. She's very sick. I sure am, Khadijah, because the bitch was trying to send the laws to my house talking about we sold drugs. I don't sell no motherfucking drugs out of my house. So, bitch, you want to play games? I'm going to play an even harder game. Bitch, I'm going to tell him your son was in my garage and he wasn't missing.
Damn, this woman swears a lot. She better stop it. You're gonna get me striked again. But see, that's weird though. Because she just said that this lady, so Rudy's mom, see that's suspicious too. She said Rudy's mom sent the cops to her house and told them that she was selling drugs. She said, so I'm gonna get her back. And I'm gonna tell the people that Rudy used to come hang out in my garage. So now I'm suspicious of this one too. See, what is going on here? Seriously, what is happening in this case? You don't know who to believe. I hate that. I hate that. Damn. Stop cussing, lady. All right. I don't think she's gonna.
I'm a snitch, 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 like Keontae say. Snitch, snitch, snitch. You damn Skippy. I ain't finna lie for nobody. Can't do it. Not nothing like that. That shit is deep. But my thing is, y'all, why the police ain't doing nothing about it? They could have been took this boy to safety and got him away from his mama. She got the boy and they don't know where she at now. He back in her custody because they couldn't figure out what charges was gonna be brought up against her. So they done let her take him. His own auntie said that she done fled with him. Don't know if he at the airport now or the drive to Mexico. They don't know what's going on now because she got away with him. But the thing is, she's so crazy in the head. She knows she's gonna go to jail because.
Well, that's another thing. There's so much conflicting information about where he really is. She just said that Rudy's actually in the custody of his mother and nobody knows where either one of them are. But we were told that he's staying with a family friend. I think her name is Nikki, which I'll show you the thing in a minute. But and some people were saying that he's with one of his cousins. So there's conflicting information every which way you
because she
look.
said that they was gonna charge her with harboring a missing person and all this other stuff that just came up. They got to see what type of charges they gonna bring up against her. So the boy is already suicidal, so she gonna probably say that he killed himself.
Oh my God. All right.
And kill her own self after she killed her son.
Okay, I can't play that. They are going to freaking strike my channel. So let me do this. If you want to see, hold on. If you guys want to see the rest of that video, when I get a second, I will put the link to that in my channel description. Okay. All right, so let's move on. I'm honestly skeptical of every single person. Okay, now here's this, which is bizarre. I saw this yesterday. I was like, no way. Okay, Rudy Farias skips out on testifying as a crucial witness in a 2015 case.
The then 17-year-old was about to testify as a crucial witness in a criminal case right before his disappearance. At the time, a private investigator said it may have been related to the case.
Bonkers, right? It's her car. I don't know. I find it very weird. All right, let's move on. Expert Rudy Farias case is potentially a Pandora's box of crimes.
So many questions tonight still lingering about Rudy's alleged disappearance and what has been happening all of these years. Joining us now is News Nation legal contributor Sarah Azari. She's also a criminal trial attorney. Sarah, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you, Natasha.
The layers are hard to unravel here. So first of all, what a bizarre and unusual case. What do you make of all of this?
Well, look, I have, like our viewers, I have a lot of questions and very little answers, but I think this is really ultimately going to turn on the communications between Miss Santana, the mother, and law enforcement. You know, one thing we have to remember that we don't have a duty to speak to law enforcement. We can refuse to speak to law enforcement, but we can't lie to law enforcement. And so those lies matter to the extent that she may have repeatedly reported him missing, or did she just report him missing that initial time. That's sort of a lot of it, the crux of this falsification of a report to law enforcement. And then, of course, the additional investigation into what conduct she may have engaged in behind closed doors, any kind of abuse or anything that we're starting to see some red flags. All of those are a whole Pandora's box of crimes that could potentially be prosecuted. But typically, Natasha, you know, these are crimes that are done to either for financial gain or to garner attention. I mean, I think it's akin to like the Jussie Smollett case, for example, where he falsified a report to garner attention.
You know, there is this major discrepancy we're tracking between what happened during the investigators' interview on Wednesday. On the one hand, we have that community activist, Quanell X. He says that Rudy said during that interview he was sexually abused and drugged by his mother. Police say that there were no such reports during that very same interview. What do you make of this?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about child abuse is that it's a secret it's secret conduct. I mean, it's not done in public. It's done behind closed doors. And besides, I think him and his mother, nobody else would really know. I think that law enforcement really needs to, in these types of cases, and I've defended many of these, there's a focus on credibility, corroboration to the best that they can. And really that Rudy is the witness. I mean, he's the victim and the witness. I don't think that the mother would have made that known or would have tried to, hide it to the extent possible. So we need to know a lot more about what went on behind closed doors. But it's got all the flags. It's got all the red flags of something bad, essentially, between the mom and the son.
Yeah, and yesterday Quanell came on our air and he confirmed that Rudy was at home with his mother now. After that police interview on Wednesday, Quanell says that he begged officers to not let Rudy go back with his mother. In your opinion, are police dropping the ball here? Should Rudy not be at home with his mom tonight?
Well, Rudy's an adult now. I mean, when he went missing, he was 17. He was a minor. So he can choose to voluntarily stay in that home. There's been also reports that he may not be, he's an adult, but he may be delayed. I'm not sure if that's accurate. I mean, as an adult, it's still abuse. We even have cases of elder abuse. You can't abuse anybody, no matter what age. But in terms of staying or leaving and the ability of law enforcement to get involved and removing him from the home, it's a little bit more difficult when you're dealing with an adult. A child, obviously Child and Family Protective Services can come in and easily take the child on the most basic allegation. But in this case, I think they need to actually have some evidence and have something confirmed before they can, engage in a sort of a welfare type of action.
We know the Houston DA says that they've decided to not file any charges at this point in the investigation. Do you suspect that charges will eventually be filed? And in that case, do you think it will be against both of them?
It could be. Again, what has Rudy said to law enforcement? To the extent that Rudy may have made misrepresentations, Rudy himself could be liable. The mom, of course, if, for example, somebody had said that he came back the next day, but if she continued to make false reports, then she's certainly on the hook for, fraudulent reports to law enforcement. I think the abuse issues that you brought up, what evidence of abuse there might be, is a whole, Pandora's box of other crimes. Fraud for sympathy and financial gain is another issue that I foresee. And then also civil penalties for the wasted resources of law enforcement.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find.
So at this point, we don't know if there's nothing that has come out that said whether or not she actually collected any money from her son's life insurance. Okay, let me pull up this next thing. Thank you guys all for being here. If you could do me a favor and just please hit that like button to show your support, I would very much appreciate it. Is Rudy Farias a victim of Munchausen by proxy?
Yeah. So many, this case is just mind-boggling, honestly. And we're learning that there are more bombshell allegations which came out of a press conference with police. There's an activist who was in the room while Rudy was being interviewed yesterday. He claims Rudy says his mom was drugging and sexually abusing him, but Houston police say that was not true. Let's listen to some of that.
Our investigators were in the room, and basically, what they heard and what they interviewed, that's what we attest to in our offense reports and our investigations. And I'm not here, neither are they here, to question anybody's integrity.
So I interviewed him, and no, there was no, I'm trained to listen for probable cause. I'm trained to listen for statements that can help me get charges or move forward with the case. And no, there was no statements made during this investigation so far.
All right. So, Brenda, what do you make of this? And again, I know there's so much to try to unpack here, but why do you think there's such a stark contradiction between what the activist is saying happened in that interview room and then what police are saying to the public?
So it's my understanding that Quanell X interviewed him separate from law enforcement. I'm not sure that was what I thought. And if he may have said something to Quanell X when mother or law enforcement wasn't around, then you may have two different sides of the story. I'm curious as to if anybody has put Rudy through mental evaluation. The man that just spoke of his history, but has anybody?
Sorry, I wanted to pause that for 1 second. Now, the only reason I say that we don't really know who to believe at this point is because if you saw the video I did a couple of days ago, you know what, when I get done with this, I'll also put that link in the description, because somebody had put out, now that the community activist, now I'm not stating anything by what I'm saying here, okay? I'm just telling you all right? The community activist Quanell X has a lot of lawsuits filed against him for scamming people out of money that he was supposed to be helping. Okay. So that's, if you're confused as to why, I question everybody in this case, you definitely got to look into everything. Yes, he does have a grudge against Houston PD, and he has a lot of lawsuits against him. He has a $345,000 judgment against him for saying that he was going to help people, collecting all this kind of money from them, and then never delivering on services. So, everybody in this case is sketchy as hell. I will just say that, right? But that's why we don't know who to believe in this point. That's why. Like, it's so frustrating. Okay. No, sorry, but I just wanted to say that real quick.
With any medical qualification looked at Rudy. When I look at this, I do have a background in mental health. I am a master's therapist. So when I look at this case, my fear is that we may have a mother with Munchausen's by syndrome, and that has come up from the very beginning. I've talked to friends of Rudy who say he was never sick. He never had cancer. Mom had a GoFundMe account when we first met her for Rudy with cancer. Family says Rudy never has cancer. There were questions on the inhaler Rudy never had. According to family, Rudy never had asthma. But I feel like there are characteristics of Munchausen's by syndrome, and there's also characteristics with Rudy that I see that he may have Stockholm syndrome.
And we certainly hope.
Most concerned about Rudy's mental health.
Brenda, do you think we will ever really know exactly what happened and what was going on behind the walls of that home?
I hope we do truly find out. I feel like Rudy's afraid to talk. And I hate to say it, if this is a cover up, and law enforcement's not holding themselves accountable for follow through on this. It was reported years ago that Rudy had been in his home, and law enforcement did a search that they made public. They said, I went to the house and he wasn't there. Did they drop the ball? I don't know. But with hearing what I've heard about the DA not pressing charges, that doesn't make any sense to me, because the crimes that I see are a false police report, withholding information on an investigation, obstruction, potentially incest. And if Rudy hasn't been evaluated, he could possibly be a vulnerable adult. If he's been a vulnerable adult, there could be more charges. And then obviously theft of services for all the volunteers that have put in time, effort, money all these years into just trying to find answers to find Rudy.
Yeah, I had the same thought. Yes, if Rudy is a vulnerable adult, I mean, that just makes this, so much worse. Such a hard situation to even understand, to wrap our minds around. There's so much more to this. Brenda Paradise, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure we will have you back. We really appreciate your insight to this. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to News.
Muse. No, it was the uncle. So the brother died in a motorcycle accident in 2011. But the uncle died after Rudy went missing. The uncle came out and said, listen, I have proof that Rudy's not missing and he is with his mother. And right after that, he also died in a motorcycle accident. So how bizarro is that? Okay.
All right, so back out here live now. So Brian, Quanell standing very firmly in what he's saying, but we are still here left wondering, what motivation does either side have, whether it is Quanell or whether it is investigators, for not being truthful about the case?
Yeah, it's a good question. We cover a lot of just wild and crazy and interesting stories, but this really is next level. I mean, it's hard to wrap your mind around what exactly is going on here. And the question you just asked is what I've been asking myself for the last day and a half. What motivation would the activist have to lie? Why would he make all of this up? It doesn't really make any sense. But at the same time, if it's all true, why would the police be choosing not to charge the mother and be saying that there was no history of sexual abuse? You just really can't wrap your mind around it. And the fact that Rudy is now back with the mother, it's all very, very disturbing. The hope is that behind the scenes, they are building a case here, the police department, working with the district attorney. And maybe there's just a lot that we don't know that they're working on behind closed doors.
And that's really, what I suspect, that they're just not revealing everything like we see so many times. Jesse, I throw it over to you now. I mean, are you surprised by this sort of confusing response, not only from law enforcement, but just really overall?
I've never seen a case like this. I'm surprised by everything. But the one thing that really strikes me is if these claims were true, if Rudy really did say this in the room, then the least that law enforcement could have said at that point during that press conference is, we've heard these claims, or we spoke with him, we're continuing to investigate, we can't speak about it at this time. But to give a blanket denial that is diametrically opposed to what this gentleman said, that's what really is strange to me, and why it's a really he said. It's the police department versus him. And clearly we don't have all the answers, right? I mean, it's a bizarre case to determine how this young man was missing for 8 years, why there was lies to law enforcement. There are outstanding questions about the GoFundMe page that was allegedly benefiting the mother during this time, and whether or not she'll face any liability on that front. So there's just too many unanswered questions right now. We're speculating as to what could happen, but it just doesn't make sense on the outset about what happened here.
All right. And it's so hard because we do have to speculate about so much because we just don't know. Jesse, we do know that at one point, both Rudy and his mother lied about their identity to police. Now, Rudy could have been being coerced into doing that by his mother. Again, we just don't know. But is there a world where they both could potentially be charged with crimes?
So on its face, lying to law enforcement, giving false information to law enforcement, filing a false report, or leading them on a false goose chase about where your son is, that's all crimes. Those are misdemeanors. Anytime you lie to law enforcement, a very different scenario, but look at Jussie Smollett. That was all about giving false information to law enforcement. So yes, but they have chosen at this point to not go forward with charges because I think they want to understand the complete picture. A lot of this has to do with intent. What was the intent behind not giving the truthful information to law enforcement? And if there is a mental health issue at play, or there was some coercion or manipulation, that's something that is definitely going to be looked at by prosecutors in this case.
Yeah, because the mental health aspect of it, Jesse, such a good point. Brian, I throw it back over to you. I mean, it's one thing for the mother to have lied from the beginning, but it sounds like she was actively participating in trying to raise awareness about her son because, Quanell says that she's the one who brought him on. We spoke to an investigator yesterday who says the mother also the one who initially brought her on before saying, I don't want to speak to you anymore. So again, just so many questions.
I really feel like this is the tip of the iceberg with the story. I just get that feeling because it seems like every hour a new disturbing tidbit comes out and there's still so much we don't know. For example, we just heard from another private investigator who was contacted by the mother. The mom allegedly said, I want to have this fundraiser to raise money with Rudy missing. They have the fundraiser. The private investigator shows up to the fundraiser and realizes the mom is late. She doesn't even show up on time. And then she doesn't even seem sad. And then she sends this PI on a wild goose chase in Mexico, where she says she's been receiving leads that Rudy is in Mexico, just lying the entire time, apparently. We're going to have him on, the PI on tonight on Banfield, 10 o'clock Eastern. But again, this is like, it feels like it's just unraveling by the hour. And I think there's so much more.
Yeah, every single day there's a new twist to this. Brian, before we let both of you go, there was this press conference this evening with Quanell X, that activist that we heard from. And it sounds like he has the support of Rudy's at least extended family.
Yeah.
Maybe not Rudy's mother, but the rest of the family.
Yeah, they're going to hold a press conference outside the house. At least that's the last I heard. So that could be pretty dramatic, basically demanding more police action. And you mentioned extended family members. I saw there was one on Cuomo last night, a woman, an extended family member who said fully believes Rudy's story and everything, said the mom has been lying, claimed that the mom is in a sense armed and dangerous, that she has 2 guns, that people should be sort of leery of her. So again, like there's just so much there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at this press conference coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, it certainly is. And again, according to Cornell, Rudy is at the home there with his mother still. So Brian and Jesse, my thanks to you both.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
It's so crazy. Sluggy said Rudy's smart, not special needs. He excelled in school and was in Catholic school and drama for 7 years. I know this case is mind-boggling. Oh my God, that makes sense now that he gotten paid off from the police to say that he ran away because of a murder case. And God bless this young man who is being abused by his mother. Okay. Let's move on to this other stuff. I think this is, hold on one second, you guys. And then we'll go over the timeline.
Okay, so joining us now to help sort through all of this, criminal defense attorney Steve Barrick. Steve, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Natasha.
Steve, it's a very strange case. First of all, Quanell X came on our air. He was insistent that he sat there for that hour and 15-minute long interview with police. He said under no uncertain terms that Rudy said he was both drugged and sexually abused by his mom. Police are saying no such report of that during the interview. How is that possible? What do you make of that discrepancy?
Natasha, this one's got me stumped. I mean, I've been a lawyer for 25 years. I've been a prosecutor. I've been a defense lawyer. I've handled sexual assault cases as a civil litigator. This is a weird one. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a real head scratcher. It's the facts in and of themselves suggest something very strange, very strange. And in fact, when I first heard the comments from the activist, Mr. X, I believe his name is, I wasn't surprised. But then for the police to come out and say that that did not occur, I'm really stumped. I think this is a real weird one. I think there needs to be a thorough investigation because I still believe that there's a lot more going on here than what has come forward so far.
Yeah, and I mean, could it be that there's just a mismatch in their interpretation of what sexual abuse looks like? Because Quanell saying some of these details in the bed naked, kiss on the lips, he said, could it be that there's just a mismatch in their interpretation of what sexual abuse looks like? Because Quanell saying some of these details in the bed naked, kiss on the lips, he said at one point she told him, you have to call me daddy, that you're the dad now. And he said that there were other details. He used the word incest. Could it be that the police heard those same details, but somehow did not interpret that to cross the line into sexual abuse?
Natasha, I think you brought up a great point. If you look at what the officer said, he was very careful to say, I have been trained to look for probable cause. And what he's saying there is, I have been trained to listen for the facts showing the evidence of a crime. So it's possible that everything Quanell said may or may not have been true, but the officers are interpreting that does not reach to the level of having sufficient probable cause to prosecute. These internal family molestation type cases are extremely tough. It appears very clear to me that Rudy has been through some systemic brainwashing for a number of years here, because when, you know, his comments when he's talking to investigators seem drastically different from 1 minute to the next. But look, anytime you have a scenario where this now man was reported missing as a teenager, and apparently he wasn't missing at all, but was in the custody of his mother, there's something very strange going on here. And you know, I saw how animated Quinnell was, and that man heard something, absolutely for sure. And that officer was being very careful with how he was saying. So I think that they're hopefully we're going to hear more over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and
about
in the meantime, Quanell also telling News Nation that he begged police to not let Rudy go back home with his mother after the interview, that he is concerned about his safety. We know Rudy is an adult now. Does it surprise you that they are not separated at this point of the investigation?
Yeah, I don't think that there's any legal mechanism for the police to utilize to separate them. He's an adult. He has free will. He can go where he chooses. I guess I would correct myself. He may or may not possess free will with his mother. That's probably a major question that Quinnell would probably contest. But I don't think they had any mechanism to prevent that young man from going back with his mother, and it's sad, frankly.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find.
Yeah, I would like to hear the recording too. Now, Quinnell said that the whole interview, he had a recording of it. So, yeah, I would really like to hear that as well. Okay. Now, let's go over this timeline. All right. So it says February 13th, 2011, Rudy's older brother passed away due to a motorcycle accident, Charles Uresti. And in the last live I did is where I talked about Quinnell and all of his past lawsuits and everything. Also, there's Charles' obituary on there. August 19th, 2014, Rudy's dad passed away due to a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was a Houston police officer that was under investigation for ticket fraud, along with 3 other officers. March 6, 2015, last seen, walking his 2 dogs near Tidwell and Park Drive around 6:30 p.m. There are conflicting stories of how he disappeared. His wallet and asthma inhaler were found in a field. No confirmation from HPD. His aunt Bella Ninos, whom we believe is Janie Alexis Santana, which is Rudy's biological mother, put out a message saying he was, what the hell does that say? Rescuing a young girl from being kidnapped for ST. Also not confirmed by HPD. What? Hold on a second. His aunt, Bella Ninos, whom we believe is Janie Alexis Santana, which is his mom, put out a message saying he was rescuing a young girl from being kidnapped. Okay. Age 17 through 18. Mixed comments on age throughout social media. Equisearch posted he was 17. Houston's Missing and the private investigator Martin Renteria posted he was 18 years old. October 15th, 2015. Rudy turns 18. 2017, ex-boyfriend of Janie Alexis Santana spotted Rudy inside the kitchen. February 12th, 2017, Jerry Santana, Janie's brother, Rudy's uncle, did a press conference where he stated that he had potential leads in Rudy's disappearance. April 26, 2017, Jerry Santana passed away in a motorcycle accident. That's so bizarre. September 17th, 2017, Hurricane Harvey hit. September 2018, HPD say they got a call from family members telling them that Rudy was living behind a family member's home. Police searched but did not find him. January 26, 2022. Janie asked a few different times, when is the least busiest time at the Mexico border? She wants to take a road trip to Reynosa, Mexico. February 15th, 2022. Janie claims she was robbed and carjacked by a known illegal subject who went to Mexico. That's too weird. May 17th, 2022. Janie's 55th birthday. May 30th, 2022. Janie claims that she was in Australia. June 21st, 2023. Janie's BMW is stolen and then wrecked. The wreck happened 23 miles from where Rudy was found. Unsure of any correlation. So the car wreck happened 23 miles from where Rudy was found. June 21st, 2023. Janie and Bella are both looking for auto insurance. And now, again, Bella is also believed to be Janie, okay? June 29th, 2023. Rudy is found unresponsive outside of a church by a Good Samaritan just 8 miles from his home. He had cuts, bruises, and blood in his hair. Crews assessed Rudy, but he refused to go to the hospital. Janie also refused transport by ambulance to the hospital. Rudy was left with family and police. That makes no sense. That doesn't make any sense. The man is found unresponsive outside of a church, but he refused to go to the hospital in an ambulance, and his mom refused him to go to the hospital in an ambulance. So he was just left with family and police. In hospital. We believe he was taken to hospital by family members. Janie says he is nonverbal and cannot communicate. Rudy claims his name Rudy Farias IV and says he is Julio Torres and that his 14-year-old and says that he is 14 years old to medical staff. What? Bella Ninos claims BMW was stolen after Rudy was found, making it hard for Janie to visit Rudy in hospital. People call her out, and she says she did not know that it happened a week ago, that she was just now learning about this car. However, Bella knows every single thing about Janie's life. Wednesday, July 5th, 2023, pending police interview. I mean, that is, did anything in there make sense to any of you? I mean, that is just so strange to me. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. Oh, thank you, Silence. Did I hear right that X was part of the motorcycle wreck looking into it because he said that he never met the aunt or the family before this and it was recommended by Grizzy? I did not hear that, but if you can find that somewhere, I would love to see it. Yeah, Ashley, I actually did a live the other day and I listed a whole bunch of scams from ConLX. Okay. What? I'm almost done. Savan, is it raining? Okay, I was gonna say, because my truck windows are all the way down. What was in what was in yesterday's press conference? Okay. Thank you, Silence. Have a good day. All right. No, you're good. There's a ton of them. There is a ton of people that sued that man. So I don't know what is really happening here. Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay, yeah, I did hear that. Okay. Now, where is that? Let me see what this is. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, I don't know why I had that on here. That's just the ant. Let me get rid of that. Okay, now let me pull this up. Two hours ago. All right. Rudy Farias reportedly plans to avoid his mother after she was exposed for falsely claiming he was missing for 8 years. Pauline Sanchez, so that's his aunt, said her nephew is doing well but doesn't want to see or live with his mother, Janie Santana, who has been the subject of harrowing claims of abuse against her son, though police denied those claims. Mr. Farias made headlines this week when Miss Santana announced that the now 25-year-old had been found 8 years after he was reported missing. Okay. Prosecutors have declined to bring charges against Miss Santana for lying. The decision was condemned by other relatives. Yes, we know all that. Okay, Rudy Farias' mother. So this was updated 2 hours ago. Rudy Farias' mother may face legal action from GoFundMe after she profited from fake disappearance story. Rudy Farias' mother could soon face legal action for GoFundMe after she raked in thousands of dollars in donations by falsely claiming that her son was missing. The fundraising platform said in a statement on Thursday that Janie Santana had been permanently banned from GoFundMe and from all future beneficiary opportunities after the bizarre scam came to light this week. GoFundMe has zero tolerance for the misuse of our platform and cooperates with law enforcement investigations and those accused of wrongdoing. Our trust and safety team takes swift action against those who exploit the generosity of our community, including with the outright removal of a fundraiser, banning an account for violating our terms of service, and even pursuing potential legal recourse. There's the GoFundMe that she claims, which I went over in my live the other day. She claims she never had one. So she's going to try to fight it and say, listen, it's a fake account. I didn't do it. And it's also under the name Alexis, Janie Alexis, I think it is. Houston police presented a bevy of shocking information on the Rudy Farias case at a press conference on Thursday, revealing that he was never actually missing and that his mother would not face charges for lying to investigators. Since then, officials have been quiet on the case. The last police statement came on Friday with a reminder for the public that the investigation is still ongoing. A reminder to our media partners and citizens, this missing person investigation is active and ongoing. We ask that everyone respect the investigative process. We will not have further comments at this time. Any updates will be posted here at the Houston Police. A local Houston activist has claimed that Rudy Farias' mother engaged in catfishing on social media. Janie Santana regularly used photos of other people. Okay, yeah, we went over that. Okay, and then these are all older. Why is Janie Santana not facing criminal charges? Despite police now saying they know that the 8-year disappearance was nothing but a fraud, Rudy Farias' mother, Janie Santana, is not currently facing any criminal charges. In Thursday's press conference, Lieutenant Zamora said that the district attorney had declined to bring any charges in this case at this time. Being missing is not a crime. Oh boy, Lieutenant Zamora said, insisting that under Texas law, Mr. Farias was classed as an adult when he went missing. When pressed that making fictitious reports to police was a crime, authorities stood by their integrity of the investigation and said that it is ongoing. Being missing is not a crime. No kidding. But reporting somebody missing and filing a fake police report is a crime. God. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? That's funny. If what is all stated is true, I hope she goes down. I pray Janie and whoever else involved taking money, time, resources from our community is punished. Rudy's mom has serious mental health issues. Also, the aunt let it out that her dad was a... Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, it was real weird. And the lady had like Thor's hammer. Like it kind of seemed like very circusy to me. Like a show. You know what I mean? Like not a serious thing. Yes, everybody, please hit that like button. Okay. Now, there's one more thing that I wanted to read to y'all. Okay. Janie Santana had mental breakdown over New York Post report. Logs onto Facebook. Yeah, this is the woman's picture and videos that she took and added to her own profile. It was crazy. Janie Santana logged onto Facebook in an apparent mental breakdown after a New York Post story revealed the embattled mother of Rudy Farias was a serial catfisher. Sources close to the investigation have disclosed to the Post that Janie Santana, the mother of the now returned 25-year-old Rudy Farias, had been leading a secret life as an internet catfish. Since the explosive report surfaced, Santana was caught logging onto Facebook in what her friend told your content is part of an apparent mental breakdown. She is having a mental breakdown. A longtime friend of Janie Santana told your content. I'd say she's more upset that her aliases were made public than anything else that happened this past week. She's been logging on and off of Facebook all day over that new article published by the New York Post. The friend says Janie wants a fresh start as a result of the widely reported investigation that captivated the nation. A fresh start. She wants to get out of Houston like yesterday, the friend said. Janie blames the police for vilifying her. She told me if anyone committed a crime, they did with their lies. All I did in this case was provide a loving home. Okay. She had assumed false identities online, meticulously crafting an illusion of popularity and enhanced attractiveness. I know on her one account, she had, I think it was where she portrayed that country singer. I don't know. She had a lot of followers on there. According to individuals who had interacted with Santana online, she has left a significant digital presence that includes a set of fabricated Facebook profiles she supposedly utilized for fraudulent purposes. On Friday, it was revealed by the Post that Santana frequently employed photos of others, such as a picture of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed country singer, which differed greatly from her own appearance. This information, okay, we read that earlier. What's more, Janie Santana, the woman at the center of the explosive claims that she kept her 25-year-old son hidden away for 8 years, has mysteriously vanished from the area. According to several news reports, Janie skipped town on Wednesday night, leaving everyone bewildered and searching for answers. The current whereabouts of Janie Santana remain unknown. Police have declined to file charges at this time. However, the investigation is still fluid. As your content readers know, the Houston PD announced that Rudy Farias, the man who had reportedly been missing for 8 years, was not actually missing. Okay, we read all that already. As your content readers know, the mom of missing Rudy Farias could face serious criminal charges for the bizarre turn of events that unfolded after her son reappeared after vanishing for 8 years. The charges could range from kidnapping to sexual assault to child endangerment. It is a truly bizarre set of allegations. Connecticut-based criminal defense attorney Norm Pattis told your content. Pattis said the charges depend on the mental state of Rudy, who was allegedly held captive by his mother for 8 years. A lot depends on the mental health of Mr. Farias. I suspect police are working hard to try to corroborate his allegations. As the investigation continues, the HPD declined to comment further when approached by your content, citing the ongoing nature of the case. It's so freaking bizarre. Ashley, I was saying the same stuff. I said that same exact thing. Oh, Sluggy. Don't even get me started on that submarine. Okay. Now let me just make sure that I covered everything that I wanted to go over.
As Natasha just said, let's bring him in. Activist Quanell X, who is planning on holding that press conference in just a few hours, demanding Rudy's mother be
Now, this
charged
was
in the case.
yesterday.
Quanell, thank you so much for giving us some of your time here. First, let's just start. You're very invested in this, almost from when this first came out last week. We started to hear your name. What is your connection to this saga? Is there a personal connection?
The mother reached out to me and asked me for help and assistance to deal with the investigators because she was afraid that they were being intimidating and she didn't feel comfortable interacting and dealing with them. And so I said, okay, no problem. I will talk to you about the details of the case. And then we'll go ahead and set up a point to meet with investigators. We did that. When we talked, she said one thing to me. In particular, she said that the man at her home that neighbors had seen was her ex-boyfriend. But in the meeting with investigators, she said, oh no, that was my nephew, along with one other thing she said that was totally not true. At that point, I felt it was necessary to talk to Rudy without the mother being present, because when we went into the room, she told all of us, investigators as well as myself, who she asked to come and help her, that he was nonverbal and could not talk. Once she was removed from the room, Rudy opened up and spoke in detail about his relationship with his mother, his interaction with his mother, and the things his mother did to him that no woman on earth should ever do to her child or any child.
All right, so Quanell, that was one of my questions for you. So, you know, his mother said that he was nonverbal. We didn't know whether it was from the trauma of this alleged disappearance or whether he was just a nonverbal person. But you're saying that Rudy is, in fact, verbal. He can speak.
Absolutely verbal. And when he calms down, he's not emotional. He's articulate, he's clear, and he can clearly think about what he's talking about and what he's saying. There are moments that he has that are very traumatic for him when he starts going back through the memories that causes him to break down and cry. But yes, he's absolutely verbal, and he's very crystal clear when he speaks.
All right, so I want to talk about that interview. I want to talk about what you spoke with. But first, where is Rudy right now, and are you concerned for his safety?
I'm absolutely concerned for his safety. In fact, I pleaded with investigators after he spoke to me and the investigators together for 1 hour and 15 minutes. That entire interview with Rudy, I sat there with the detective for 1 hour and 15 minutes. And based on what we heard, we stepped out of the meeting, and I said to the detective, and all three of them together, there was 3 detectives, I said, you cannot let this young man leave with that woman. Please do not let him leave with his mother. After everything we just heard, after what he just told us, you cannot let him leave with his mother. And at that point, they began to start the process to try to separate her from him at that point. But she was able to creep back to the room and begin to question him about what he told us. And she asked him, did you tell him about our relationship? And Rudy said, yes. And then she said to him, you got to take that back. You cannot tell them that. I will kill myself. That's exactly what she said to him after he had spoke to either detective for an hour and 15 minutes. That detective heard everything that Rudy said in crystal clear detail. He heard Rudy say that she made him sleep in the bed with her often, and he did not want to do it. He heard Rudy say that I hated doing that she was violating my boundaries. And we asked, would anything else happen in the bedroom? He said she would kiss him on the lips and she would get in the bed naked sometime with him. He went on to say to us that he would be in the restroom and he would be in the shower and she would get naked and come in the restroom and pull back the shower curtain. And I don't want to go any further because I don't think it would be fair to Rudy. But the things that she said told us were graphic in nature. This young man was the victim of incest and sexual abuse. She said to him, you gotta be my husband now, and you gotta play daddy now. That's exactly what he said to me, as well as the investigator.
All right, so Cornell, obviously very explosive allegations that you were making. And so we know what you're saying. You are very clear on what you say happened in that interview room. We just heard that snippet from investigators, from police in Natasha's reporting. They essentially say the polar opposite of what you are saying. How can you explain this?
It's not the polar opposite. The question was raised to them, was there any sexual abuse? And the man says, well, it was not reported to me. I'm trained to find these things and see these things. Then the next question was there a sexual relationship between a mother and a son? They refused to answer the question and said, we treat all victims the same and we give them their privacy. Why did not you answer? Was there a sexual relationship? You chose not to answer because you know what Rudy told us in that meeting. They heard it in detail, just like I did. And to be honest with you, I asked them on 3 separate occasions at the end of that meeting, is there anything I should not say to the media that would jeopardize your investigation? On 3 separate occasions, they said no. I was attempting to be courteous and thoughtful to their investigation, but they said no. They heard Rudy talk about the abuse and the drugs his mother was giving him and got to him, the mushrooms, etc. They heard all of that.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation.
Okay. So yeah, you guys, a lot of conflicting information. We're not getting the truth. We're not getting the truth from one side or the other. I don't know what the hell's going on here. It seems like there could be a lot of coalition going on here. There could be, people. I don't even want to say because there's so many things. And y'all talking about, let's go stay at the lodge. They'd done have us all killed. We'd all be in separate lakes, and then they'd be like, cover it all up, cover it up. But no, I want to thank you guys for being here. If you have not hit that thumbs up, please go ahead and hit that like button for me. Crime scene investigators were at the house several days ago, says Grace. Not for nothing. Yeah, this case is mind-blowing. There's a lot of red flags in this case. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't add up. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. So, it is what it is. Hopefully we can figure out what happened here. I said the same thing about Kylie's case, and here we are going on a year. But for those of you that are interested, I am running a special. I will be running a special on August 6th. Okay. For the 1-year anniversary of Kylie's disappearance. If you are interested, it will start at 7 o'clock. I'm going, well, actually it'll start at 7:30 because me and Cece are going to do something at 7. And then at 7:30, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to have one person at a time. Anybody that's interested that wants to come up, say anything about Kylie, say anything about the case, anything you want to say. I'll give everybody a few minutes. And it'll be a special for Kylie on the 1-year anniversary of what happened to her. So save the date, August 6th. Me and Cece go on at 7 o'clock. And then at 7:30, I'm going to open the door. I know Squirrels on Fire is coming on. I know. And if you guys, if you're interested and you want to be a part of that and you want to come up, you got to contact me, whether it be through email, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. But get a hold of me. I will secure your spot for you. I'll give you your time slot. And then we'll go from there. Okay. But it's going to be a special for Kylie. So those of you that are interested, do not forget to check that out. As far as this case goes, I will stay on top of this. I'm going to be in the rabbit hole for a while. Again, listen, I do not have Facebook. So if you can find anything on Facebook pertaining to this case that seems interesting, please send it to me because I have no way of seeing it unless it gets posted on Twitter and I find it there. But yeah, so that's what's going on right now. I'm going to continue digging into this case to see what I can find. I mean, hopefully we figure out what's going on here. I mean, it just seems like a whole lot of liars involved. A whole lot of scams have been involved with everyone in this case. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on anything that I can find out. So please hit that thumbs up. Please sub to the channel. Please consider becoming a member of the family. Anybody that wants, and that's all free way to support the channel is to hit that like button and sub. Anybody who wants to do anything extra, links are all down in the description below. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light. And I will see you guys next time. Have a good day, everybody. Happy Sunday.